So, a channel that I watch on YouTube, that you might have heard of by now because he got really popular in the last few months, was was Joel Haver, and oh, I was just watching some stuff by him, and it um I don't know, I guess I had a couple things I wanted to talk about, just on a whim, but one of the I think the biggest thing that really engages me with him, and there's a lot of things, but one of the big things is that he's making something that he's passionate about. He's just doing that, you know, and he puts himself into his work, like he's a genuine kind of person, and you really see that in the more documentary style videos that he does, where he's kind of more talking just about himself and his life, and I really like those glimpses. Particularly the last one that he did, where he gets he gets a van, and he sets out, like he leaves his hometown, and says goodbye to the people who were living there, and he just kind of talks about where his life is at the time, and I like the way I really like the way that it was made in a lot of ways, but specifically I really like the like genuine, like real passionate quality of his videos, and the fact that he's putting himself out there for potential judgment by people who think I don't know. I mean, you know how people are. You put yourself into something that you care about. You put yourself into it. So it's kind of personal and sometimes a little intimate, and uh, people judge that. People will judge that. Um, Maybe in this case, most people don't, but because of how big his channel has gotten, yeah, him specifically, a lot of people will. But he does that anyway, um, and I find that inspiring. I talked a few months ago in my first recording of Dark Souls. I mean, my first kind of video on this channel, really. I think it was like the fourth video, but it was all in one recording session. And I mentioned Sweet Anita, who is this streamer with Tourette's, and like a severe neurological disorder, but she makes streams and she puts herself out there for potential judgment by assholes on the internet, in the same way, and it's a degree of vulnerability that you have to do when you're making something that you care about, and you're putting yourself into it, and you're putting it online. And I find that inspiring and kind of comforting, because for me, I deal with a lot of self-consciousness, and I've had a long-standing fear, it occurs to me, of um, of coming off as weird, as being like that guy, as doing something kind of odd, and people being like, "Well, that's a little weird." I'm not sure where it stems from, um, but it's been there since I was 14 at least. And back then, it was so debilitating that I was antisocial. I didn't have any friends in person. I was going to a school at the time, but I refused to interact with anyone. My mom would suggest going to I don't fucking know what it was. I think it was some kind of like martial arts thing one time. I don't know, but social fucking gatherings and shit. I don't know, things where you were doing things in front of people and being social. And I would actively avoid that because of a fear of doing things in front of people and then fucking it up somehow and coming off as weird. Because I was always sure I would. And particularly I got pulled out of school when I was 10, and I didn't go back to any kind of regular social setting until I was 14. And, particularly when you have autism, those are really pivotal developmental years. And, on top of having autism, that really fucks over your social skill development, because I was just out of it for a while, and I just got used to not having any friends, around me very much. Like maybe one that I saw occasionally. Let me have a sip of water, as my throat's acting up again. Might have to take another mint. That did seem to help last time. And, yeah, I had this fear. And, at the time, it wasn't... It was bad in the sense that I was actively antisocial, but it wasn't bad in the sense that it was painful at the time, because I found ways to occupy the time. I had this one best friend, who I'm still best friends with, actually. We've known each other since, I think we met when I was 10, so we've known each other 20 years, or 10 years. And he was around at the time too, so I wasn't lonely. We talked every day. We stayed up all night talking back then. And I had things to occupy the time because my big passion was gaming. I spent those years most of the time, particularly ages like, I don't know, 12 to 15, just gaming. That was my whole thing. Every day, all day, just gaming, and it was a passion. And I didn't do anything else, so it feels like wasted time in a way, but I was like relatively content. So it wasn't so bad because at least I had that one thing. But yeah, it did mean that it wasn't until I was 16 that I started to branch out and make friends and shit. And even that didn't last very long because summer came. Right as I was getting into the swing of things, summer hit, and a bunch of the friends left, or started being cold to me, or some kind of awkward thing happened between us, or, I had a girlfriend who I split up with, or whatever, so most of them, weren't a thing by the time the new school year popped up. And the little I did have was heavily lulled. What's the word? Diminished, I guess, by depression, which had just come up. So it wasn't a fun time. And, the depression, along with ADHD a bit, but more so depression is what really contributes to my motivational issues and the reason why I can't really make videos consistently as much as I might like to. But I think making videos, talking about whatever, gaming, the fucking CD opening, I actually, you could see me in that, right? And there's the the typical kind of self-conscious thoughts, but I still put that video up. Or it's scheduled to be up in a few days. And creators like Sweet Anita and Joel Haver are people that make me feel more comfortable and inspire me to put myself out there and try to get over the fear of judgment, because no matter what you do, in the end, someone is going to be like, "This is bad. You're terrible." But unless you actually are some kind of asshole, which very unlikely you are, regardless of what you tell yourself, Most people, the bulk of people aren't going to be like that, but it's the negative, assholes who stick out, unfortunately. But I think making videos helps with that, and it's like kind of a step, uh, multiple steps in the right direction towards, I guess, a stronger degree of self-confidence and acceptance, and diminishing that social fear, I suppose. I only just, I made the Dark Souls recordings, and then the two recordings that I did, which was like 8 videos, and then months, 3 months passed before I did anything else, and then just 2 days ago ish, just the last couple of days, I've been making stuff because I've felt, I guess, more motivated. It. I'm trying to go in with the mentality. I think I mentioned this. Did I mention this in the last video? I can't remember if I've said this, or maybe I did, but I cut it out. I don't know. But I'm trying to go in with the mentality of, because I that self-consciousness and that fear of coming off the wrong way somehow, which is obviously especially elevated with autism, because I know that the way the way my brain works is fundamentally different from the way most people's brains work. And of course, my degree of autism is probably about as mild as it gets, but it's still very present. And I know that little things I do potentially could come off as like odd to people, and probably most people wouldn't really think that way. Just be like, oh, this is like a guy. He's being a guy. But certain people, maybe, I don't know. You can make the argument like, people like that, why would you value their opinions? And of course I don't. Fuck them. That's my mentality. But that doesn't mean that doesn't affect me emotionally. That doesn't mean it doesn't fuck with me. But I try to go in with the mentality when I make a video of like, I don't actually have to upload it. I don't have to overthink it. I don't have to be in like the best mood. I can be kind of down. And making a video could help with that. It can help with that. You don't have to be at your best to make anything. I'll touch on that more in a minute because I have more to say about that. But yeah, I try to go in with the mentality of, I can cut out things I don't like. I can not upload if it's really that bad. But I just start and I just do. I just talk. Maybe it's low quality. Maybe it's whatever. And so far, the vast majority of the time, everything's fine. And it's not that the quality is lower or anything. It's just the mentality you go into, and it's just being comfortable, and that's what makes it. That's what makes it work. It needs to be really easy for me to make a video. Editing can be more. I mean, it isn't hard at all. The way the little that I'm doing, but it needs to be easy for me to start up, and I feel like I have a system going, or a setup that kind of works. I gotta take some more water. If I talked for much longer, I'd grab a mint, but I don't have a lot more to say. So, yeah, I mentioned that you don't have to be at your best to make something, and that's kind of a mentality I've gone into a lot of the time. Like, I'll be like really low energy. I'll feel like shit. So I won't want to start up a particular game, because I'm not in a state to enjoy it. which, when I say it out loud, it doesn't really make any sense. But when you create something, even if it isn't a particular piece of art, all I'm doing is talking about stuff and giving my opinions and playing games. You get into the mindset that you have to be at your best. But this is another Joel Haver video I watched, and he talked about pursuing the things that you love, and being consistent, trying to do it as much as you can. And he mentioned that when you're feeling low energy and demotivated or kind of shitty, that's as good a time as any, if not a better time, to create, to do whatever kind of creation works for you. That could be making videos like this, but that could be poetry or music, or whatever, any kind of semi-half creative thing that fulfills you, that means something to you. And I don't know, I like that. I like the idea, and that made sense to me, and that resonated with me. The idea that that's a good time, if not a better time, when you're demotivated, because that can lift you up in a way. I don't know. I had some I had some thoughts, and I thought it'd be. I felt like sharing. I mentioned in the last recording, I have a lot of I don't know, kind of trails of thoughts that I go off on, but I've never really shared them before, and I feel like I've always wanted to, And I have always wanted to, since, I was making videos a long time ago when I was a lot younger. I actually started a YouTube channel when I was 10. And I made videos on and off technically until I was 15. The mainstream of videos ran from like 2012 to 14. That was like ages 11 to 13. But I made videos throughout all those years at some point. And all during that time, I wanted to make like quality, let's play style videos, and I hadn't been able to until now. And I guess it's still something that I'm interested in, but a lot's changed, and the motivation was gone, and I don't know. I guess it's something that I'm doing now, and uploads would probably be really inconsistent because I just can't find the motivation sometimes. But it feels important to me, and I want to do more because sharing experiences and sharing thoughts that I sharing things that I'm passionate about, gaming and music in particular. Probably more so gaming, because I can record games and talk about them while I play, and just, I don't know, putting myself out there in a sense, and talking about things feels, I guess, like something in some sense that I've always wanted to do, and particularly for the last, I don't know, couple years. Stuff like this is something that I have wanted to do, but it's always felt out of reach for whatever reason. But as it turns out, it's usually the mentality. It's usually the mentality, because it's never really as far out of reach as it seems. It's just your approach to it is you're assuming, at least I tend to assume, that I have to do all these things to get to this point, and then it fucking stresses me out. I just I don't do it. There's all these steps involved. I can't just start up a recording. But you can. And that's the only way to do it. The only way to do it is just to fucking start recording. Say fuck it. See how it sounds. Maybe it sounds like shit. You fucking made a recording. You know? That's... that's all that matters. Probably it doesn't sound like shit. Probably it's never going to sound as shit as you anticipate, because that's been my experience, that it doesn't. But if you go in with the mentality that it's okay that it does, it's okay if it does, because you can roll with that, or you can improve on it, or you can edit it, whatever. It's okay for the outcome to be whatever. Then, then you get somewhere. Then you end up fucking making things. So, I don't know. Just some thoughts.